Hey, this is Timmara signing on with Dear Esther. Okay, so I'm on my little journey to play a bunch of different walking sims for various reasons, and we're on to Dear Esther, one of the really the first high-profile walking sim in the genre, and this is one of the most famous and most maligned in its own genre. So I guess a little history on Dear Esther. Originally released in technically free to play in 2008, as a Source Engine mod for used from made from Source Engine, which is the game engine that the Half-Life games, a lot of Valve games have been based off of, and kind of released as a mod originally, and then got basically, I guess you can say, remastered and released in 2012. Let's see, was it early 2012? Well, released in 2012, published and developed by the Chinese Room, which is it's a company that's known for a couple of walking sims. Some I'll get to, like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and what was the other one? There was another one they did recently. God damn it. Hold on. Just let me double check something real quick. I did the research and then I forgot. It was Dear Esther. Oh, Amnesia is a Machine for Pigs. So they helped work on the second Amnesia game, which another series I gotta play, but also I'm a coward. So released in 2012, early 2012, and was one of the big things like, here's what a walking sim is. And then really, that genre then really picked up steam with Gone Home, which after revisiting is really, really good. But then it's Dear Esther, which never played, don't know anything about it. Mainly, what is it? The only thing I know is we're on an island in Scotland. Did I? No, it's got director's commentary too. I suppose I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, so I guess we're starting. Okay, so let's check this out. I just know we're on an island in Scotland, and as time's gone on, this has been a more and more...
Dear Esther, I sometimes feel as if I've given birth to this island. Somewhere between the longitude and latitude, a split opened up, and it beached remotely here. No matter how hard I correlate, it remains a singularity, an alpha point in my life that refuses all hypothesis. I return each time leaving fresh markers that I hope, in the full glare of my hopelessness, will have blossomed into fresh insight in the interim.
Can't read that. Okay, so this guy, poetically saying stuff. Is this a... Yeah, is this like a formula of elements? That's... okay. I think... Or at least some kind of weird symbols. Music. Yeah, immediately they're just kind of trying to get you with the mood music, so okay. Yeah, as time has gone on, Dear Esther gets credited... This is Landmark Edition, I don't think that really makes a difference, but I don't know. But Dear Esther, originally kind of like the true pioneer of the walking sim genre, but again, I think maybe it seems, or at least it's remembered as, paint? So much paint. Okay. It's remembered as Gone Home as being like the thing that really kicked it off and had more staying power. And as time's gone on, Dear Esther just seems to have gotten more and more unpopular. A lot of Chinese Room games have just gotten more and more unpopular. And not just because it's called the Chinese Room or anything. It's just, they're the games that get slated as like very little interactivity. What the hell is going on? Okay, I'll just... Maybe... Okay, literally every button is zoom in. I wasn't sure. I should have just kept going on this path. I should have committed. Just wasn't sure what difference it would make. I felt like, the grassy path, the colorful path is important, but that path just kept going, or does it matter? So I don't know anything otherwise, just, we're on an island. And I guess we're writing letters to somebody. as the name implies, you know, we're writing letters to this Esther. Whoever they might be. Looks really nice, actually, for 2012. Was I meant to do that? Okay. For 2012, you know...
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
Okay. So just like looks out to a new cave mouth, so if we get there... Oops. All I tried. Okay, so we've been heading down this way anyways. Okay. Some garbage and scrap. We're just carrying on. Fishing cages. We're going here. I hate to waste time and check.
When you were born, your mother told me, a hush fell over the delivery room. A great red birthmark covered the left side of your face. No one knew what to say, so you cried to fill the vacuum. I always admired you for that you cried to fill whatever vacuum you found. I began to manufacture vacuums just to enable you to deploy your talent. The birthmark faded by the time you were 6 and had gone completely by the time we met, but your fascination with the empty and its cure remained.
Okay. So... we're definitely playing as, you know, this Esther's boyfriend, husband, probably husband. Seems more intimate. Is there barbed wire fence? Why do you want to put barbed wire fence on a, you know, hiking trail? That's so dangerous.
Reading Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight. He landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons.
Okay. What are your reasons then, man? I'm trying not to slide down. I'm just curious.
When
Something down there.
Or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath.
Oops. Not trying to fall, just trying to
You could
look at
see
what
them
that is.
From the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh.
All right. If we gotta walk all the way over there, this is gonna take a while. I'm pressing every button. There's no faster movement speed. This is just what we do.
We are not like Lot's wife, you and I. We feel no particular need to turn
Can't
back.
see what that is.
There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where
Okay.
we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
Okay. I see there's a path over there. That's probably where we're supposed to be going. But if this should lead us to that other cave, if it makes a difference. And there's just the thing. What is that? Kind of paper or symbol? It's just, you see repeating in the floor texture, which I'm not gonna nitpick. It's just, I get it. Lots of ground to cover. Just, maybe it was meant for something else and they repurposed it. I don't know.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life.
Okay.
I threw my arms wide and the cliff opened out before me, making this rough home.
Ooh.
I transferred my belongings from the bothy on the mount and tried to live here instead. It was cold at night, and the sea lapped at the entrance at high tide. To climb the peak, I must first venture even deeper into the veins of the island, where the signals are blocked altogether. Only then will I understand them, when I stand on the summit and they flow into me, uncorrupted.
Okay. Guess there's nothing else here, just like symbols and weird drawings. More paint. Is that really it? That's all that's here? I'm starting to think all the bad things I've heard about this game are starting to become true. Okay. Just out of curiosity.
Come back.
Oh, okay. That's... Sayonat. What? Okay. So I guess you get a trophy for drowning yourself. Weird. Okay, just, I didn't know. I was just like, can we go in the water? What happens if we do? Well, that happens. Alright. The wind picks up. Again, I guess for 2012 it doesn't look that bad. Just the more I look at it, the more, you know, simple it looks. The violin music is lovely and all, but just nothing too grand to see to warrant
The
it.
vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish, the sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
The way he read that... Is Esther the island? Well, no, it can't be. We just heard she was born. What am I thinking? Wait. Okay. Well, unless... No, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, sorry. Unless... Okay. Sorry, is there a way to... Nope, there's like no way to replay anything. And by the way, I just messed around in the options, got the, you know, subtitles on and field of view pulled back. So that's all I've done so far. Messing with the options was the bulk of my interactivity so far. I'm not trying to be a downer, but oh my god, is this really it? Oh, okay. Donnelly. I suppose that was the chapter.
Dear Esther,
It's a little...
I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services. But although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
What? Is he, by driving, does he mean boat sailing, but then mirror what? Sure, let's go down to the boats. Just... Is this it? Was the boat more of a, like... Were the boats more of a, just, like, thing to look at in the distance rather than go to? Been here a long time. Doesn't even look like a body could be here. It's so rusted. What way do I go? Would anything be different if I was all the way over there? Where do I even head?
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived?
What? What do you mean, hole in the bottom of the... Neither did he eat or drink, nor drink. And neither did he eat or drink, okay. That's something cohesive. And that weird symbol with that rock formation. Do we really have to walk all the way back over there in order to, like, get back on track?
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Okay. So, I'm assuming, based on how he said that, so we're writing letters to our dead wife? That's kind of the implication I'm getting so far. And maybe it was a drunk driving accident on someone else's part? That's what I'm getting from this so far.
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
Well, let's go find out.
Come back.
Okay. Where the heck are we? Stacken Ottoman? Is it really just like... the most interactivity we have is just like different ways to kill ourselves? Is that maybe the point? Like... okay, let's go a little farther before I start rationalizing.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun was an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
What the heck? Needles and cuts. Either maybe somebody patched themselves up here, or maybe they did surgery on something. It's like a little barn of sorts. Maybe an animal? Maybe a person? Especially you should get on the path. That's blocked off there, so there's no point in going over there.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians.
Oh, somebody!
He was
Oh
not
my god, I
considered
actually
a
scared
man
myself.
breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him, either.
Sorry, I scared myself because I was zoned out. Let me guess, nobody's gonna be in here.
My heart is landfill. These false dawns waking into the still never light. I sweat for you in the small hours and wrap my blankets into a mass. I have always heard the waves break on these lost shores, always the gulls forgotten. I can lift this bottle to my ear, and all there ever is for me is this Hebridean music.
Hebridean... Is that like an ultrasound or a scan or something? I'm not even... Hey, there's somebody... Is that just a lantern hanging? Hey, wildlife, something alive. Yeah, I'm not even, you know, scared of something jumping me because... it'd be a weird and, like, ill-fitting to have, like, a jump scare while this violin music is playing. Fire? Bail notice? Okay. So, like, prison? The lantern was there, now it's gone. I don't suppose... No, can we not go up this way? Nope, I was thinking maybe we could scale up there, loop around, unless there's another way up there. Okay. If I slide down, will it just kill me? I think there's a cave there. Too fast.
Come back.
Thought it was too steep, but also I was curious to see if there would be like a trophy for that. Like fall into the sky or something like that. Again, that's what the last thing was.
He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit.
Who are these people? Sorry, he's just naming people off, and it's not
They
really...
found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. He'd struggled halfway down the cliff path, perhaps looking for some lost goat, or perhaps in a delirium, and expired, curled into a claw right under the winter moon. Even the animals shunned his corpse. The mainlanders thought to bring it home unlucky. Donnelly claims they dragged it to the caves to thaw out and rot. But he is proving an unreliable witness.
I'm just curious if there's like another trophy or something, because that was a dead end and there was nothing else there. So the only thing I can think of to do is just die.
Back.
I thought something changed. A vase, I think. Okay. Sorry, that's literally all I was wondering, is just like, is this just like, you know, a guy mourning his wife and writing letters that she'll never get? And so, like, he came to this island and, you know, contemplates suicide, but then steps away after you do certain things? Or, like, I don't know. It's a grim way to take it, but I just don't know what else to work with. The only thing we've gotten trophies for so far is dying, so it's kind of where my mind is leading me. Barrels and drums, broken ships. Is that a fish or just a scrap of, like a milk carton or something?
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg.
Do I want to even bother?
It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Okay, there's different music. So I started going down here, but nothing. But medical kit he found could... Okay. Is he the one who patched himself up, like fixing his infected leg in that barn? Are we like a detective following like this guy's last steps, or are we him like seeing visions of ourselves traveling? Is that the figure we saw? Trying to be open-minded. I'm trying to like let the story play its course. Just don't know what we're doing. Lit candle. Somebody must have lit it. Okay. I guess that's the end of another chapter? Jacobson. Jacobson. Anyways. If it took more than one bullet, you're not using a Jacobson. I know it's just Jacobs, I was doing a joke. A joke.
Did Jacobson crawl this far? Can I identify the scratches his nails ruined into the rocks? Am I following him, cell for cell, inch for inch? Why did he turn back on himself and not carry through to the ascent?
Okay. Kind of like the blue tinge to this tunnel. Looks kind of cool with all these stalagmites. Stalactites? No, well, both, technically. It's tight that stalactites, you know, are on the ceiling that point down. Stalagmites are, you know, go up, right? Okay. Like mushroom spots and spores. Another death points. Then again, admittedly, the shot of that waterfall was really pretty. I don't think we're missing anything by not going the other way, but this cave, at least, I like the coloring and I like the look of this. It's like very, you know, mystical and kind of, you know, at least with the music paired up with the look at the cave, I at least feel kind of like it's enchanting and different. Just carrying on. Sorry, not much to say. I'm trying to be in the spirit of things. It's just there's not much here to do. Why is that? It's just a miscolored rock or something, or...
In my final dream, I sat at peace with Jakobsen and watched the moon over the Sandford Junction. Goats grazed on the hard shoulder, a world gone to weed and redemption. He showed me his fever scars, and I mine, between each shoulder the nascency of flight.
Not sure where to go. I'm kind of at least enjoying the cave. At least it's very visually interesting compared to everything else. Just like, I like the, you know, glistening blues and greens here. It's kind of like seeing like this giant, like, you know, kind of feels like we're in a giant maw of the island or something. It's because like the stalactites and mites just like look like teeth. You know, this is the most alive this island's felt so far. Can't go that way. These gems, or...
I will hold the hand you offered to me, from the summit down to this well, into the dark waters where the small flowers creep for the sun. Headlights are reflected in your retinas, moonlit in the shadow of the crematorium chimney.
It's just a pool. At least from the water, that kind of looks like a giant eye. It's kind of cool looking. Yeah, I'm starting to think more and more. You know, glint in the headlights, crematory. Behold, Damascus. Maybe? Okay, that's a lot more crazy looking. You know, kind of looks like electronics and... Away from being a city, being a home, and oh, scout. How do you read that? It's kind of creepy now. Yeah, the game would be playing a long one if, you know, it turned out to be there was like a monster down here, but I highly doubt that's the case. Nope, okay. Couldn't go around it. Hospital bed. Yeah. Or are we Esther and we're writing letters to ourselves? This is our afterlife, I don't know. Yeah, we're drowning. Where are we? Oh. Trying to swim up. Okay, this is not... Thought we were here already. Did we actually get pushed by the water? That's what it seemed like happened. Okay, guess we're out of there. Nothing to say. Sorry, just got no observations to make besides Esther. So, wait. Okay. I'm only now starting to notice how loud our footsteps are.
I sat here and watched two jets carve parallel white lines into the sky.
Oh, I see.
They charted their course, and I followed them for 21 minutes until they turned off near Sanford and were lost. If I were a gull, I would abandon my nest and join them. I would starve my brain of oxygen and suffer delusions of transcendence. I would tear the bottom from my boat and sail across the motorways until I reached this island once again.
Okay. Oh, somebody.
Dear Esther, I find each step harder and heavier. I drag Donnelly's corpse on my back across these rocks, and all I hear are his whispers of guilt, his reminders, his burnt letters, his neatly folded clothes. He tells me I was not drunk at all.
Oh. So it's his fault. And that's why we walk a little really sluggishly, is because we're carrying a body. Can't even zoom in all that much. Nothing to say about that. I feel like it's self-explanatory.
There were chemical diagrams on the posters on the walls on the waiting room. It seemed
That's
appropriate
why.
at the time. Still life abstractions of the processes which had already begun to break down your nerves and your muscles in the next room. I crammed diazepam as I once crammed for chemistry examinations. I am revising my options for a long and happy life.
Okay. Heaven. Light from heaven shone around. Right? Light from heaven shone around. I feel like I'm missing a word. I see stuff there, but I figure this is the path.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
So we're shipwrecked here. And we're sending out letters. On a sudden, light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. I think we're supposed to go up there, but I'm out of curiosity. Just curious. Sorry, dying is net of some stuff, so I'm just checking.
Come back.
Okay. So we're shipwrecked here. We're sending letters to what's already implied our dead wife, maybe our fault. And we're carrying the body of one of our crewmates. That explains why we walk so slow and weird, if that is really the case. Are we supposed to get up to that tower? Think maybe the goal?
A sound of torn metal, teeth running over the edge of the rocks, a moon that casts a signal as I lay pinned beside you, the ticking of the cooling engine, and the calling from a great height, all my mind as a bypass.
Okay. Try not to lose track of him. Still there. Suppose we can't get to him. Whoever that is there.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
Okay. And he was proceeding on his journey. Okay. Sorry, don't have much else to say. You're just still going. Come near to and sorry, I'm trying to read that the best I can. It's just how it's scribbled on.
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Okay. Okay, the wind's getting kind of creepy. My phone dinged. It's fine. Getting closer.
Bent back like a nail, like a hangnail, like a drowning man clung onto the wheel, drunk and spiraled, washed onto the lost shore under a moon as fractured as a shattered wing. We cleave, we are flight and suspended, these wretched painkillers, this form inconstant. I will take flight, I will take flight.
Okay. And came to pass that as made in journey as... Okay. And it came to pass... The farther away you are from this, the better it is to read. That as... Journey. The farther you are away, the easier it is to read this. I cannot figure this out. I think we started all the way down there. It's actually kind of interesting to see the perspective of how far up we've gone compared to where we were. From heavens... Okay, is it just like all these different passages, like, coming together for this final thing, but you're so damn close you can't read it?
Blind with panic, deaf with the roar of the caged traffic, heart stopped on the road to Damascus, Paul sat at the roadside hunched up like a gull, like a bloody gull. As useless and as doomed as a syphilitic cartographer, a dying goat herd, an infected leg, a kidney stone, blocking the traffic bound for Sanford and Exeter. He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. All his roads and his tunnels and his paths led inevitably to this moment of impact. This is not a recorded natural condition. He should not be sat there with his chemicals and his circuit diagrams. He should not be sat there at all.
So is he blaming her for this? Okay, hold on. Almost there. Came into... Damascus.
I am the Ariel. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an aerial, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
Oh, Jesus, okay. Okay. Got thoughts, just hold on. Anything else? For the Chinese room. Okay, Paul. So we were Paul. Okay, so... Wait, were we Paul Jakobsen? Was... Yeah, okay. So, Esther Donnelly. So, we've heard bits and pieces about Donnelly and Esther, and they're seemingly the same person? And Jonathan Blow? Oh, special thanks to, I suppose, what? How did he have a hand in this? Sorry, that just confuses. Okay. So, if I got this right, you know, we got Esther Donnelly, and I'm guessing Paul Jakobsen. I'm guessing that's what the implication is that, you know, all the chapters we've heard about the people, and they've all been about names. So, you know, if you put the names together, is it, yeah, story of Esther Donnelly and Paul Jakobsen? Does that make sense? And was the implication, was I kind of right? Is it wife died, maybe from a drunken accident because of Paul, and so, you know, I guess they loved that island at some point, maybe? based on a mod, 2007 mod, funded by Hearts and Humanitarians. Yeah. So, I think Robert Briscoe is the composer, I think, from what I read earlier. Okay, so my guess is, this island. And so I was kind of right. You commit suicide, and from doing that unlocks trophies, because that's another way you could die. But how Paul wants to die, because he doesn't have Esther, is by, casting from the highest point, burning his, all his papers. Or maybe he was stuck there? Or maybe that was unrelated? Because I'm not sure. Is it the shipwreck, or... The implication is that they were shipwrecked. But maybe... I'm not sure. Maybe at one point? Yeah, I'm confused. But, okay. Well, I'll have to do some reading and double-checking, because I'll be back. I'll do the director's commentary. I did it for Gone Home, so I might as well do it for this too. But, okay. So, Dear Esther. So that was Dear Esther Landmark Edition. How was it? Not good, if I'm being totally honest. Okay. While this weird twist has been confused, but I'll look into it and come back with the answers. But, yeah, just the walk is so dull. It's not even like Gone Home, where at least you can pick up the things, the diaries that you hear. Is just every once in a while you'll be read a passage of diary without anything to really interact with, and yeah, alt-right seems to piece together like the events, but it's still not totally clear, and all the writing and scribbling. So the chemical marks, I thought they looked more scientific than just like random mad scrawlings. So they're, things you see are just like pieces of his mind, being personified or being literalized in the world. The chemical markings from the hospital, the med kit that was found that patched himself up. Maybe the figure we saw was Jakobsen or Paul at different parts in this journey. Maybe. I don't know. So I'm guessing the intention is like maybe he showed up on this island with the body of Esther, basically as like a... Anyways. I'm also tired. I don't know why, like, just an hour of that just left me so exhausted. Okay. But, yeah, there's just, like, very little in the way of interactivity. And, yeah, piecing out the environmental stuff is, interesting and all, but I still am not entirely clear what is going on. And, that's not necessarily a good mark when your obscure storytelling is so obscure that it's not entirely clear. But I'll look into it. I'll be back. I'll listen to the director's commentary and just, like, see what they have to say and see if it pieces together any better. Or do some reading and try and figure it out, and then I'll check back in. But, yeah, Dear Esther, not impressed. This is what, just like the slow walking. The cave was cool. I honestly kind of like the cave because of the colors and the colors and like the glistening water. It was actually like very cool very cool scene. But other than that, nothing really grabbed my attention. Yeah, I don't know. Not, I knew bad things going into this where, yeah, I think I remember Total Biscuit way back on his podcast when he was still alive and talked about, whenever he wanted to bring up a bad walking sim, he would bring up Dear Esther, and I start to see his point. Yeah, I was worried this is what was going to happen, but I gave it a shot, and there we go. We'll be back with the director's commentary, and we'll wrap this up, but, I now want to go to bed. Go to the bathroom. I don't think those two things are related, but I'm certainly not feeling it. Okay, so, yeah, we'll wrap up here, and next time we continue. For essence, this is the end of Dear Esther as the initial playthrough. I'll be back for the commentary, because why the hell not? And we'll see what else we can find here. But, yeah, Dear Esther, not it started something, didn't hold up along the way. So, with that all being said, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara signing on. No. Sorry, I'm completely blanked. Sorry, I'm just completely blanked on my outro. God, what the hell happened to me? I'm so tired after this. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe and all that. This is Timmara signing off. And thank you for watching me play Dear Esther Landmark Edition.